Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Morning, Emma.
Morning, Andy. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, good, thank you. Ready for the Easter break?
I know, tell me about it. Looking forward to it. Although you're trying to squeeze in 2 weeks worth of work in 8 days. It's,
Yeah, it is always the way over Easter, isn't it? Always the way.
it is challenging in itself. Well, welcome everybody to another HubSpot Masterclass this morning. Today we are going to be talking about reports and dashboards. Okay, so whether you are a manager, director, user of HubSpot, and you want to see how effective your marketing is, you want to review your sales activities, check on what your sales team are up to, check on the performance of an email campaign you might be doing, whatever that might be, this webinar is going to be perfect for you. Okay. We're going to be looking at how to edit existing reports. We're going to look at how to build custom reports and how you can put them all in a dashboard as well and get them in a place that's easy to use, great for visibility, and also making better decisions with your marketing when being able to see the data as well. Okay,
Mm.
so lots to go through this morning. The plan for today, as always, is we're going to try and finish at 11 o'clock as planned. So we might not be able to get everything done in that time question wise. So we are going to stick around at the end as well. So please ask questions as you go along. If we'll try and answer them as we can. If we can't, we'll do them at the end. So the chat is live. So if someone just wants to put something in the chat, we always like to check that we are working beforehand. There we go. Thank you,
Perfect.
Jackie. Thank you, Jake.
Jackie, Jake,
Perfect.
can see you here. Great, good
Brilliant.
to know that that's
Okay.
working. It's always a good start, isn't it?
Exactly right. Okay. So before I hand over to Emma, who's going to run through the reports and dashboard, I know a lot of you may have been attended the previous webinars, or you may be a client of JDR, so you might know who we are. Some of you might not be. Okay. So I always like to start with just a little bit of an introduction into ourselves. Okay. Because we are an inbound marketing agency, JDR. Okay. We established 20 years now. This is our 20th year of trading. We've been using HubSpot for 12 years now. We've been HubSpot partners for 10. Okay. And we are that sort of full service digital marketing agency. We've got great experience in using HubSpot. We use it to underpin our own marketing, our clients' marketing activity as well. And there's kind of three primary ways in which we help, I would say, when we work with a business. First of all, particularly with HubSpot, it's our onboarding services. So if you purchase a professional hub in HubSpot, whether that's marketing, service, sales, okay, one of the prerequisites is to purchase onboarding. You can do that directly with HubSpot, but as a partner, it's something that we provide the training and the setup and getting people used to using that particular tool. We also provide consultancy and training as well. So whether that it could be in the form of like a workshop, okay, where you might want some specific help on something that you're using within the account, okay, and you want some help with it, that's something we can also help with. But also, and probably the largest part of our business is providing inbound marketing agency services. We are effectively an outsourced marketing department for small to medium-sized businesses. Not only do we help create your strategy, we have the resources in-house to help execute it. Okay. So if you do want to discuss any of the three services that we provide with me, afterwards, what I'm going to do, because I'm going to hand over to Em in a second, I'm going to put a link to my diary in the chat. Okay. It will take you to this page here and it will allow you to book a call with me. Okay, I am quite busy next week. It's a short week, you see, so you can't book until the 8th. Okay, however, if I do get some cancellations, so if there's a specific time or date that you want, send it my way. I'll try and see if I can accommodate it, because I'm sure I probably can somewhere. Okay, but yeah, so I'm going to pop that in the chat. I'm going to stop my share now, so I'm going to hand over to Emma. Let me just get that link up and pop it in the chat. There we go.
Perfect.
There we go. Emma, over to you.
Over to me. Great. So,
Yes.
like Andy said at the start, we're really focusing on reporting today in HubSpot. Now, HubSpot has reporting capabilities right from the free version of HubSpot. Get a little bit better on starter, and then once you get to a professional tier of HubSpot, you unlock the ability to do custom reporting, which this custom reporting is a large part of what we're going to focus on today, but I'm also going to touch on some things that you can do on the starter hubs as well. But any professional hub will unlock an element of custom reporting within HubSpot, which is where the real power comes into it, I would say. So the reporting in HubSpot essentially works based on properties. So anything at all that you have in your HubSpot account that is in a property stored against that property can be reported on through a report in a custom way. The reporting in HubSpot is easiest if you're looking at a single object. So if you're looking at just contacts or just deals or just companies, you can cross-subject report so that you can look at comparing companies and deals or contacts and deals. But it's always easiest if you can get your data into a single object to report on. There's a couple of different ways that the reporting works within HubSpot. So you can either filter and edit and tweak existing reports that you have, or you can create brand new, fully bespoke reports from scratch. And what we're going to go into today a little bit is where to use those different things within your business and what is kind of available to you. So the starting point for this is always going to be editing an existing report. So in order to do that, you are going to go into your dashboards in HubSpot. Now, HubSpot have recently changed the navigation on HubSpot. They've not done it for everyone, but they've done it for some people. My one, unfortunately, has updated, but if yours hasn't, your navigation will still be along the top as it used to be, but they are going to be updating this for everybody in the coming months. So it's just worth being aware of. It is in a slightly different place. Yeah. So you want to go into your dashboards and then hit this add report button, and you're going to create a report, and that will bring you through to this screen. Now, on the starter versions of HubSpot, you don't have these options to create reports from scratch. We'll come on to that in a moment. What you do have, though, is a ton of templated reports. So right now in this portal, I've got 241 templated reports to choose from. There's a ton in here that I can use and that I can tweak. So one of the ones that I always like to look at is I do a little search and I want to see how many contacts have been created. So let's take this one as an example. How many contacts have been created by day in the last 30 days? Now, the first thing that you can do with this is you can go ahead and save it to a dashboard. So if I save it to this one as an example, that has now gone and added that onto my dashboard. Scroll down, that report is now there on my demo dashboard. Dashboards are such a great way of organizing all of your reports together, and you can have multiple different dashboards with reports on different areas of your business. You can allow different people to see different dashboards. So this one at the moment, only the owner can see it, but you can also have it so everyone can see it, or you can choose just specific people to see it as well. So if you've got a management team that want to see something different to what you want your sales reps to see, you can do all of that through the dashboards. Once you have a report that you like, you may want to make some tweaks to this report. So for instance, I might want to look at this report and I want to see this over more than just the last 30 days. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the 3 lines here and I'm going to edit my date range. So let's go for all data on here. This is just our dummy account, so it's going to be a bit up and down as we're using it. And maybe instead of monthly, I want to see this quarterly. So I can put all of that information exactly how I want to see it. The other really powerful thing with these reports, though, is you can add filters on. So let's say I only want to see the contacts that have come from my SEO work that I've been doing. I don't know that there will be any in this account, but let's have a look. I can go ahead and put a filter on based on any property. And there we go. We've got a couple of contacts here that have come through from that source. And I can go in and I can change this on the fly to see exactly what I want to see as I want to see it through these filters. All of this that I've just shown here is all available from the starter levels of HubSpot. So anybody that's got the basic package of HubSpot is able to do that level of customization to these basic reports. So there's so much there, data, that you can really just get your teeth into. If you are on a professional version of HubSpot, though, you'll have this button at the bottom that says customize. And this is where these reports get mega, mega powerful. So I have this report here that we were just looking at. Let's change this back to monthly. And then in our filters, we'll change this back to show all time. So I've got all my contacts on here. Let's say that original source property, which is where things are coming from, is really important to me. And I don't want to just see one thing at a time. I want to see them all. What I'll need to do is I'll go back into my data here because I want to add an additional piece of data to this graph, and I'm going to add a property back in, and then I'm going to break it down by original source here. And now you can see it's added this extra dimension to the report, which is going to allow me to report on exactly what I want in a really customized way. I can even choose, if I want to stack these. So it will put them all on top of each other. I always find that tidies it up a little bit. And then you can go ahead and update that report or save it as a new report and put that onto your dashboard. If I want to save it as a new report, maybe I want to add it to a different dashboard, I can do that here as well. So it gives me a ton of power if I've got these out of the box reports that I can just tweak and change to be what I want them to be. Now,
just while you're on that, just
yeah,
before,
of course.
just wanted to Karina's just asked, does a dashboard have limitation in terms of the number of reports that you can add to it?
Yes, it does. And that is dependent on your tier and which package of HubSpot. I believe on starter, it's 10 reports per dashboard, and it goes up to 50 on professional, but that is just from memory. We will be able to get specific numbers for that. If you kind of do a bit of a search for that, that should come up.
I'll have a look for it while you just do that.
Perfect. Thank you.
I'm pretty sure it is 10. I'm sure it's 10 and 50.
I think that's right. If we're both thinking that, we're probably right, aren't we?
Yeah.
Super. Good question, though.
But they may have changed it, though, with the new update. So let me just double check, because I don't want to give you the wrong information.
Super. I will crack on, Andy, if you could put that in the chat when you find it. That'd be great.
I'll pop it in the chat once I do it. Yeah, no problem.
Thank you. So these kind of edited out of the box kind of reports are best to use if you have fairly standard data that you're wanting to see. If you're wanting to see something and you think pretty much any company is going to want to see this information, then these reports are a really good starting point. So standard things like count of contacts, count of deals, that sort of thing. They're also really good if you want to just, excuse me, remove small subsections of data, like I was doing, just narrow it down to see something very specific. They're also really powerful for activity reporting. If you want to see how many emails have sent, your web traffic, that kind of thing, there's a ton of out of the box reports for that sort of thing as well, which are very hard to make on a more custom basis. HubSpot also has a ton of just quick dashboards. If I go into create dashboard here, it gives you a ton of templated dashboards that have a series of reports on them as a default. So these are a really good starting point. If you're not quite sure what you want to see, this is a good place to begin. Okay. If those out of the box reports are not quite what you want, you've got something a little bit more specific to your business that you want to report on, you can do that through a fully custom report. So
it's 30, by the way, Emma, before you
jump 30, okay.
30 for professional, 10 for starter. We were right on starter. I think they've changed that because I'm sure it used to be 50. So
yeah.
um,
But you can
still a lot of
obviously
reports,
have
though.
multiple dashboards as well if you need
Yes.
it.
Yeah, you
Super.
get 25 dashboards.
Yeah. So if I am going to create a custom report, I would always recommend when you are starting with this to use the single object reporter. There is a custom report builder. This can get very complicated very quickly. As you are starting out, the main thing you will need to use is just single object reporting here. So what you want to do is you want to choose the object that you're wanting to talk about. We'll take contacts in this instance, but you can report on all of these various different things within your portal. And then you're going to choose the data that you want to see. So I know I've got some data in this account on favorite color. So I'm going to use that, and I'm going to use the create date of the contacts. And then all you need to do is you drag and drop your data into here to display it exactly how you want to. So let's say we're going to change the filters again to show all-time data. We're going to show that monthly. And you can see it started to break this data down by create date and then by favorite color as well. Maybe this kind of graph isn't useful for me. Maybe I just want to see my entire database with how many of each person I have in various different categories. Maybe I want it to be a pie chart, that kind of thing. You can fully customize this to exactly how you want to see it. You can see it just in a table if you just want to see the raw numbers. You can give it like a summary kind of report as well. There's so much that you can do with these custom reports, and we'll come on in a little bit to talk about where to start with reporting in HubSpot, because it really is endless, the things that you can create with these reports. We've created some incredibly custom things that are incredibly complicated for clients, and some really, really simple reports as well. You can go either end of the spectrum, and we will go in a little bit more detail later on where to begin with all of this. Again, once you have created your custom report, you can hit save and then add that to your dashboards as well there to go straight in, and save that where it's really easy to access as well. So these kind of reports, like I've kind of mentioned, are best for if you've got super specific data to your company. Every company will have different things that they need to measure about their customers specifically, their deals specifically, that sort of thing. So there's always going to be those specifics, and that's where custom reports are really good. Also, if you're wanting to break down your data in ways that are quite unique and specific to you, custom reports are very powerful for that. You also are going to need a custom report if you're looking at cross-object reporting. So if you're wanting to report on contacts and deals at the same time and kind of merge those together, that is a little bit more complex, but it is absolutely possible to do in the custom reports. Also, for anything that you want to use with non-default timeframes, so HubSpot primarily uses things like create date on contacts, but you may want to, instead of the create date along the bottom of your chart here, you may instead want to do this based on an installation date if you are kind of going out to site and installing things, or maybe you want to do a delivery date of something. So if you have those kind of custom timeframes, custom reports are really, really good for that as well. And you can center around any of those dates. So that's all really, really powerful. Okay.
Just to answer your question, Gina, just before you carry on, Emma.
Yeah, of course.
This is being recorded, so there will be a recording sent through afterwards,
yeah.
Once it processes and decodes. If you have missed anything, don't worry about it.
Yeah. Super. Okay. The final thing that you may want to look at in HubSpot is your what they're now calling report collections. Now you can get to these on the new navigation by going into the reports, and then you have these report collections at the bottom here. There is a ton of, again, these are out of the box, but slightly more complex. And the ones that you unlock here depend on which hub of HubSpot you have. So there's a ton of marketing reports. So you can get full traffic analytics, page views, you can see all of your UTMs, device types, all of the kind of information that you may have to go to Google Analytics for. Some of you will know Google Analytics has changed recently, makes it a little bit harder to use for those of us that are used to the old analytics. This has been a lifesaver in those scenarios because it gives you very similar data. The marketing side is super powerful. From the sales side, these report collections unlock a ton of information. So it gives you a load of like rep activity reporting, which is great if you're a sales manager, you've got a team of people, you want to be looking at your meeting outcomes, how many tasks are being completed, all that kind of thing. You can get all of that. You can also do a ton of forecasting, seeing things like how much deals have changed over time, how many have moved forward, stayed where they are. You can do kind of funnel reporting, waterfall reporting. There's so much in here for sales managers to really dig into here. Average size of deal is just going to give you so much insight about how your team is performing and how sales is working within your business. And then the same on customer service as well. You can get a ton of reporting on your customer satisfaction score and on the kind of rep performance from the service hub side of things as well, how long people are waiting to get a response on a live chat, how long tickets are sitting in pipelines for, all that kind of thing. So across all of the hubs, there is a ton of stuff within these report collections that's really going to take things to the next level for you and get some really detailed insights into slightly more complex combinations of data for you there. So like I've kind of mentioned, this is great if you're wanting website analysis, using it in the way that you may historically have used Google Analytics. Similarly, if you want to analyze your sales activity, your rep activity, that sort of thing, any kind of complex sales reporting, forecasting, deals changing, that kind of thing, and any kind of service activity analysis as well there. This is 100% the place to go for all of this. You can also save all of these down to your dashboards as well. So you don't have to keep going into this area. You go into here and then save the report onto your dashboard so that you then have ready access available to it. One other thing that's worth mentioning with the dashboards, which I think a lot of people aren't aware about, is you can actually set these to email to you on a regular basis. So if you go up to the Share tab at the top of your dashboard and go on to email, you can choose a list of people to get that sent to. You can choose your subject, a message. You can even attach it as a downloadable PDF if you want to. And you can set this up to be a recurring email as well. So this will go to whoever you need it to go to regularly, which will really, really help for that regular reporting, making sure everybody has visibility on what they need to see at all times. Erin, we will come back to that question at the end, if that is all right. If you don't mind sticking around a little bit at the end, we will come back to you on that one. Super. So that is an overview of all of the different kinds of reporting that you can get within HubSpot. But where do you actually start with all of this? In my view, the best place to start is to take it completely out of HubSpot and just think about your business. Make a wish list of all of the data that you would like to see and that you would like to know about your business. What you then need to work out is what fields within HubSpot kind of correlate to the things that you want to see. So if you are thinking, I really want to see how many of my contacts have been contacted by a sales rep in the last 30 days, you need to start working out, okay, so I'm going to need to be looking at contacts. I'm going to need to be looking at their last activity date, maybe, which is the last time that they had some contact from a rep. Maybe I'm going to want to be looking at what their life cycle stage is as well, and start thinking about the pieces of data that you need. You then want to consider, can I filter or edit an existing out-of-the-box report for this? It's always the easier option if you can. So have a look through the default reports and see if there's something there that is either going to meet your need or get very close to meeting your need. Make sure, especially if it's a more complex one, to go in and check the report collections as well, see if there's something in there. If it is not in any of those options, then you're going to want to start creating a custom report. Add all of the properties that you want to see, the data that you want to see, and start arranging those in different configurations until it shows you the data and the information that you need. You then want to consider the filters that need to be applied. What time frame are you looking at here? Do you only want to be looking at contacts created in the last 30 days? Do you only want to be looking at a specific pipeline, a specific rep, for instance, and pop those filters on? If you do all of that, that should get you 85, 90% of the way towards getting the report that you need. There's always a little bit of fiddling, trying different things, trying different properties, making sure that the data is exactly what you want it to be. But this is a great place to start if you're wanting to get into HubSpot and start building some of your own reports. The final piece to mention on that, and it goes right back to what I said at the start here in terms of matching it up with HubSpot properties. In order to report on something, HubSpot has to have that data. And that's often the biggest issue I see people having with reporting, is that they want to report on something, but HubSpot doesn't actually currently have the data to do that. If you haven't got a property that correlates to what you want to see on your wish list, you need to make sure that in a way that is populated in HubSpot. Now, there's two different ways that you could do this kind of population. Either it's a manual step in your process. Somebody has to go in and update that field on the contact. So for instance, we used the example of favorite color earlier. If you want HubSpot to know what people's favorite color is, you might have to coach all of your reps that when they're speaking to people on the phone, they ask that question and manually input that information into HubSpot. The alternative could be that you do it through a workflow in some way. Now, we did an entire webinar going through workflows, and we are going to do a couple more workflow-centered webinars this year because there's so much that you can dig into on workflows. But I've just created a kind of example one here that I was working with on a customer the other day, actually. So they wanted to get a report on all of their deals that had stalled, that had been sat in a specific deal stage for more than 30 days. HubSpot wasn't currently tracking that against a property, so we weren't able to create a report until we started giving HubSpot that data. So we set up a workflow. People were enrolled as soon as they entered that deal stage. HubSpot would then wait the allocated 30 days that they decided on, and then it would have a look and see, are they still sat in that deal stage that they entered now 30 days ago? If they are, then we've used this workflow action called set property value to update a custom property we've created called deal stored to be yes. What that then allows me to do is any deal that has that property, I can then report on that separately. I can report how that changes over time. I can report which reps are the worst offenders for this, all of that kind of thing. I can't do that though, unless I am setting that property value in the first place. So using the reporting tool alongside the other tools as well is a great way for these more complex things that HubSpot isn't currently tracking. There is almost always a way to get the report in HubSpot. Sometimes it's trickier than others. And that's where we can really help as well. We get loads of clients that just send us their wish list and say, can you just make this happen for us? And that's work that we love doing for people, really just digging into their data, working out how we need to do it. So I would always say, get in, have a go at it, see how far you can get it. If you are struggling though, we're here to help with it. So do just reach out to us as well on that side of things.
I just did one this week, by the way, for somebody who wanted to report on how many they use Zoom Info for prospecting, and they wanted to know how many of their new contacts came from Zoom Info. And obviously that HubSpot doesn't report on that, so you have to create a workflow that comes in that sets the property value that these people that have been added via that extension, and then create the report off the back of it from that side. So that's a perfect example of what you're doing with the deal stored as well.
Exactly.
And just another use case, basically.
Yeah. I very much think with HubSpot reporting, if you can dream it, you can do it. There is almost always a way to get the report that you're looking for within HubSpot. Sometimes you have to do workarounds and you have to play with it a little bit to get it to where you want it to, but there will always be a way to do it. We will come on and
Part of the fun as
answer.
well, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, absolutely is.
Yeah, might not be for everyone, but definitely for me and you, it's definitely fun trying to work out how to report on things as well. So
Yeah, I think
if
if
you've got any
you're
challenging things you want to report on, please come to us. We're more than
yeah,
happy to have a
we
look at
love
it.
doing it. We love trying to work
Yeah,
out the things that aren't working and how we can make it work for you. 'Cause like I say, there's always a way. Super. Alrighty, there are a couple of questions. So we will wrap up in terms of the things we're running through and come on to answer a couple of the questions. But as always, if anything we've said today is of interest and you want some help setting it up, if you want some help, you've seen the reports and your data's not looking as good as you want it to, you need to be getting more leads in, that kind of thing as well. This is what we do. This is our bread and butter. So do please get in touch with us, have a chat with Andy, see where we can help you. And yeah, we'd love to hear from you on it.
yeah, definitely. Doesn't have to be on your marketing activity as well. If I do and conduct portal reviews all the time now for businesses, where you give me partner access. I can go in, look at the tools you're using, you're utilizing, you're not utilizing,
Yeah,
and we can get together and explore how we can help as well. So yeah,
absolutely.
please feel free to book in at the same time. Also as well, like I don't know whether you noticed this, Emma, but the light has gone behind me.
Oh, I
It
didn't
was
even
flickering
notice.
throughout. Oh, well, that's all right then. It's been doing my head in. It was flickering and it just
At least it's
literally
gone
went
now, I
off.
suppose.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, at least. So if you're wondering if I wasn't in a rave, basically. So but let's cover these questions then before we wrap up. So
Yeah,
I want to come back to the call. There was one from, let me just get it up
from
here.
Erin, I think. So
Erin, wasn't it? So report for average call time. Can you build a report for full call duration time?
okay. So I think what you're asking for, Erin, is around like how long in a day each rep spends on the phone, for instance, kind of over average. I think there will be a way to do that. Call duration is logged within HubSpot. It will be a custom report. The data fields that you'll be looking for are that call duration field and the rep name. Have a go with that. I think it should be possible from a custom perspective. If you are struggling, let us know. We can have a little look at it. It may not be 100% possible, but usually on the reports, you can choose whether you want like average time, total time, sum. You can do medians, means, all these various different data manipulations. So I think it should be possible. You've just mentioned could only find an average time. Something we're happy to have a look at with you, Erin, if you can't find what you're looking for, see if we can make that work for you.
Yeah. Call duration definitely is a property.
Yeah. And I think it should allow you to toggle it to be total rather than average, but we can have a look.
I would have thought so. You can actually. I just share my screen with you here quickly. I just did a report for calls, and this quarter
perfect.
So with call duration and the count of calls, you can have it set
As total.
As total from that
Yeah,
side.
and so if you click
available.
where it says total on there, and you could change that to be average or
so that's probably
maximum
it
time,
might
or
be
that kind of
defaulting for
thing.
you, Erin, on average, whereas if you hit that, you can do maximum, minimum, median, total as well from that side. So yeah.
That should work for you.
There you go.
Super.
Let's get back. Was there anyone else in the? That's correct.
A couple of other questions.
There were some in the Q&As, wasn't there? Yes.
Yeah, so we've got one from Neville here. Neville says, can you give us a brief overview of using multiple filters and avoiding pitfalls? Great question, Neville. What I would say is the more filters you're using, the more complicated a report is going to get. I would say to just be very intentional with your filtering and make sure that you are putting exactly what you want in there. If you're wanting to do something more complex with the filtering, sometimes instead of doing that in the filter section, because you are a little bit limited in the filtering section within reporting, in that you can't do and or logic. You can only kind of layer them on top of each other as and logic. What you can do though is you can use, if I just share my screen again, the lists tool within HubSpot to build really complicated sets of filters using a ton of and or logic, really, really customizing this, and then use this membership to this list as the filter in your report. What that will also allow you to do is you can actually go in and look at this list and see the contacts or the deals or whatever that meet that filter criteria, so you can just sense check it. I would say that's going to be your best bet for making sure that things work as you need them to. I hope that helps answer that question. Looks like we've got another one from Claire. So Claire says, can we contact you and not HubSpot Direct for assistance on reporting? So yeah, we can absolutely help with that. We answer questions over email all the time. If it's a simple one, we can do that. If it's something we're going to need to dig into, look at in a little bit more detail, we work with people on all different kinds of agreements and arrangements in HubSpot. So we're flexible with how we work with you. So if you have got some more complex stuff that you want us to look at, just ping it over, and we can definitely work with you on that. HubSpot support are also great for reporting challenges. So definitely utilize that resource as well, because they're a great team. They do some really good stuff with people.
Yeah. Phoebe has asked, are you able to create a data health report showing how many contacts have been created in a week with key missing properties, or is this a better as a list also? So the answer is yes. And as part of my portal reviews, I will often produce a data health, like a data health dashboard, where I will look at a business and look at how many contacts they have, which ones have email addresses, which ones, how many don't have email addresses, how many don't have first names, how many unsubscribed email accounts they have in their database. Okay, how many, or so there's loads and loads of stuff that you can do from that, and it's relatively straightforward as well. So if you want to chat about that in more detail, of any, if you've got any specific data that you want to report on, then send me an email or book a call in my diary and we can chat about it in more detail. But the answer is yes, you can do that. Okay.
Yeah. Definitely. One of the question is, if you're reporting off a list, can that be added to a dashboard in any way? Yes. Any report you create can be added to a dashboard. You can't add the list itself to the dashboard, but you can create a report. Let me just share my screen very, very quickly and show you. If we go into the reports. Sorry, I'm moving very quickly going through to this step. So if you create a report and you just want, say, the count of contacts, maybe the life cycle stage, and your filter is going to be based on a specific list membership. So let's say we want to find anyone who is on this made up leads list. We might not have anybody on there. Let's see who else we can find from some of the lists in this account. What you can do is, if you just want to see this as a table, you can choose for this to be an unsummarized data table here, and it will literally just give you a list of all of the people that would be on that list. So that's how you would essentially add a list to your dashboard, as an unsummarized data table there. And just choose the fields you want to show. Perfect. Anil has asked a question, do you have resources on creating custom events and tracking contact activity from website traffic? I don't think I have any specific resources on that off the top of my head, Andy.
I don't think we do, no.
It's definitely something we'd be happy to have a chat about, understand what you're looking for there, and see what we can do. I'm sure HubSpot will have some resources on it as well, but I can't think of any that we have off the top of my head, but it's definitely something we can look at.
Yeah, I think the issue with creating resources for custom, because it's all very custom, it's unique to you and your business. So we create a resource, and as an example, it might not necessarily, you might not be able to relate to it as easily, so to speak. So It's always a case to speak with an expert directly when you've got something specific, a specific thing you want to report data on. It's always best to, as Emma said, dive in, have a go yourself. If you're struggling, then reach out to ourselves, to HubSpot. Okay, and yeah, I'm sure we'll try and help.
Definitely. Okay, I think we have got through all of the questions there, which isn't bad going. So yeah, I think we will end that one here. Like we said at the start, we do one of these every month, focusing on various different topics. So keep an eye on your emails. We'll make sure everyone's kind of invited. We will be sending a recording round of this session later today as well. So you'll all have that to look back on, share with your teams if you need to. And thank you for joining again.
Yeah, thank you everyone. Speak to you soon. Take care.
Speak to you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.